They're live.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. If you could turn your mics on and give us a final sound check.
All right, Tim, can you hear him?
Hear
Hello?
you just fine.
All right.
Might want to pull the mic slightly away from you, Michael. You're a little garbly. Might be a little too close. Not getting anything, Michael. Double check your...
Michael Blackwell from the dark.
Hello? I can go a little louder.
I hear you.
All right. Everybody else good?
Hello, John Walters.
Good.
Dorothy,
Good.
Judith,
Chuck Stein?
All good. Michael, can I hear you one more time?
Sure,
Yours
no
is-
problem.
All right. Okay. Yours was just a little finicky this morning, so I wanted to double check. You all sound good. Have a wonderful board meeting.
All right, welcome to the meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Library Trustees. I'll call the meeting to order. I'm John Johnston, Vice President, and if members would go around the table and introduce themselves. Starting with Chuck.
Chuck Stein?
John Walters.
Judith Gwen, Treasurer, Dorothy Waters.
Thank you. And the first item is the approval of minutes. I'm sorry, approval of agenda. Do we have any additions or corrections?
Move to adopt as presented.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next one is the approval of the minutes from October. Just for clarification.
section,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Just two sets of minutes.
Okay, for the October 10th, excuse me, section 8. It's 8B, no, that's not 8. It's on page 3,
Okay.
under action items, section B at the bottom, near the bottom, has abstained. Should be Walters. The spelling of the name.
Yeah. And I think up top for the holiday dates, look at your last name. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in both 2 and 3. It's in both 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And
After those corrections, I'll make a motion that the minutes be approved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
And next we have celebrations, quite a number of them this month.
Yes, there are. May I have that? Okay, the first is a hip hip parade for Sarah Stevenson, who's our virtual services coordinator. And it is for always being responsive promptly, even during off hours to all requests. So I'm going to give you an example. The first time that we were doing the Zoom interviews for the trustees, I had logged in earlier that day and it was fine. And I tried to log into the account at 6:15 and it said you have to do a password, a passcode. I didn't have access to it. So at 6:25, I'm calling up Sarah saying, help, Sarah, help, help. And she already had it ready for me. It's like I send her an email and the response comes back so quickly. I think she's reading my mind. So she is just always fantastic. And I thought it was just important to recognize that incredible amount of customer service that she does. The next are for Jake Parsons and Kimberly Fields and Hannah Bear. And thank you for your ideas and energy that made our 75th anniversary retro lexicon, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So successful in community building, art creation, and small business visibility. Enjoy the well-deserved rave reviews. And that was an incredibly well-received program we did. And I'll, as I say, I'll tell you more about exactly what that is later, but thank you to those three. We have two folks here, and that's Reedy Nagoyan and Connor Roberson. And so thank you for your ideas and energy that made our 75th anniversary retro lexicon so successful. And they're just kind of the ones who are here for community building, art creation, and small business visibility. So Reedy and Connor, could you come on up, please? So they're here at Leonardtown, but basically they were doing quite a bit with that program and in some cases leading it. So here are your certificates. Do you want to say anything?
Sure, I can say something. We had about 216 attendees at Lexicon. I think that was our biggest year in the last 4 years. We had a bunch of local businesses come out. We had some food trucks. It was actually the first year that we had food trucks, and it was a big help to people staying the entire time. And I think everyone had a great time, and we're already starting the planning of the next one. Reedy. Lexicon is a Comic-Con. It's a mini Comic-Con at the library. We have a bunch of comic book theme activities, and it's really keyed into pop culture. So this year was Lexicon Origins. We did the retro or golden age comic books in line with the 75th anniversary of the library. So we had a bunch of exclusive buttons, and we had some like little miniature hero painting. It was a lot of fun. And actually, Reedy is going to be the team lead for the 2026 that we're transitioning to April. So it is going to be a little bit of a tight turnaround, but we're all very excited to do that. So did you want to say anything else? Okay.
If you're not familiar with like Comic Cons or anything like that, don't feel intimidated to attend. We're kind of trying to make sure that everybody feels included. We're trying to meet all the community needs that we've been made aware of. So we would love for any of you guys to attend as well, just to kind of get a little bit familiar with some of the bigger programs that we do, like those big events that we do. And we hope that you guys make a stop by because we would love to see you.
More celebrations for our 75th anniversary, and these are for Andy Tidings and Brianna Thorne. Neither of them are here today, but they're at Leonardtown. And thank you for going above and beyond and helping to plan a 75th anniversary jubilee that was enjoyed by our community, and an amazing job at showing what a wonderful place the library is. And John, you came on out for that. Thank you so much. There was a really nice piece that appeared in the Baynet about that day. So they did a great job with that. So thank you to both of them. We do have one anniversary today. Some Blackwell guy been here for 10 years. What'd you say? Oh, do you have one? I don't have one. That's okay. In interest of time, I'll just refer here. I just wanted to say thank you to the board for my continued employment. Thank you so very much. And to our staff for all of their great work. You know, the famous quote about standing on the shoulders of giants. certainly for Mary Ann, that goes, I couldn't do this without any of them. And so I'm at the community, people say, oh, you're library director, what do you do? I say, whatever a bunch of smart women tell me to do. It has been a very challenging 10 years. We had 4 years of rather severe intellectual freedom challenges to our collection and to our programming, followed up by COVID, and then followed up by some difficult economic times. So I'd have to say that I don't know that I'm a good luck charm for the organization, but I'm just ever so grateful for all of your support, and thank you so very much for letting me continue on. Thank you.
Right. That's right. Next on our agenda is the president's report, the ledger and the credit card reconciliation.
Can I also, she went to Lexi.
Thank you.
And you can't get in.
You always have to check the top of the page. I've done that. I know. Looking at the EALs right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, jump in. I only have one question related, not related. The Bolton report. Am I missing something? Have we seen the Bolton report yet?
You seen what?
The Bolton report. We usually get the actuarial report on the OPEB every year.
We got that back in April or May. Mhm.
Missing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
you've
Thank
seen
you.
it. We will next month be having Bolton come to talk to you about the actuarial report. And we'll be asking for a vote on possible changes to how it's administered. So you'll definitely get an update from Bolton next month in
Okay.
December.
Sorry.
Could I ask that you send me a copy of the Bolton report?
Sure.
Since I wasn't on the board
Yeah, yeah.
in March when it was. I don't
Yeah, we'll
know
make
whether
sure
you
to do
sent it
that,
me
yeah.
Or not, but
Yeah.
I'd appreciate getting it. Thank you. Before the meeting.
And I guess Caitlin too.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
We will go ahead and get those out.
Thanks.
Are there any questions so far?
Metcom doesn't cover Charlotte Hall, do they? Just Lexington Park? Or
They-
water and sewer?
Yes.
It's the town of Leonardtown.
Yes.
When was the last time we bid our accounting services?
What services do you mean?
The
Whatever
accountants.
asking ASCII does.
So,
Oh, accounting. Thank you. I thought you said county. My
so
misunderstanding.
2 years ago,
2 years, yeah.
Years ago, we looked at other accounting firms in the county. We are a niche. It is a government accounting. So as you saw in the audit, there's different policies and procedures we have to follow. We could not find a good firm that was local, that had what we needed at that time. And ASCII really knows our accounts right now and helps us a lot through them and has been helping us clean up that audit for the last 5 years.
Thank you.
So it's a specialized type of accounting versus like for-profit business.
It's not specialized, it's different.
Different.
There's private accounting for policies, the FASBA, and then there's the GASBA, which is what we follow.
May I ask what the 69-cent charge is for Amazon on the back?
Yes. So we have our digital archives are housed there, and it's 69 cents a month in Amazon. And we've looked at different places, and that's where the best place to archive them is. We switched to them a few years back.
On page 4, the Midwest tape, buying DVDs, audios, and CDs. Where do we see that going in the future? Is there still demand for DVDs and CDs? And do you think what's the future of this going to be with streaming music?
Well, that's a very good question. Currently, yes, there is still demand, but it is diminishing.
Mhm.
And our major concern for libraries are that most things are going to streaming and in many cases not having a physical analog. And that's very difficult for libraries because we're not allowed to subscribe. So we can't, for example, go to Netflix and say, we want to subscribe for our library users because they say, oh, yeah, library users can all individually subscribe to us and we'll make a lot more money that way. So it is a changing area and an area of concern for libraries. Right now, I'd say that our circulation last fiscal year, for example, was level with the previous year, just a little bit more, but that reflected an increase in digital and in print use and a decline in our DVD use of about 16%. So yes, we're still seeing, new movies, new things, new series, television series come out in that analog that people do want. I cannot tell you the future of that medium, but I think that over time, like the music CDs, which we don't really have anymore, it will go away.
Do you have in mind, just hypothetically, a trigger point at which you'll take a really hard look? I mean, if it went to 10,
I'm sorry, if what went to 10?
if you mentioned 16% drop in checkouts in that genre. If it went to 10, would you stay with it?
We probably will have to factor a lot of things into this, including the use patterns. If a particular segment, let's say older people, still would like to have it, we would probably cut back on the amount we're getting and move money elsewhere. So I'll give you a specific example of this. Right before the pandemic, we were opening this library and we made a decision to get away from the audiobooks on CD. They were very expensive. People lost the parts of them. You couldn't resurface the discs. And we were getting a lot more digital. Well, I'm still hearing 5 years later, why don't you have audiobooks on disc? So it's a complicated decision about when we'd get away from it. As I say, we simply need to follow these use patterns.
Yes, like Michael was saying with the use patterns, we still are trying to keep aware and be aware that not everybody has access to the streaming services and Wi-Fi down here. I know myself up at Charlotte Hall, we see a lot of DVD use from the folks at the Veterans Home. There is like Michael was saying, the issue of like Netflix or Hulu with their special limited series, they don't release those on DVDs because they want to encourage folks to pay for their streaming services. I can say we have started hearing feedback from customers that these streaming services are getting too expensive. So I'm keeping an eye on it because the trend might start increasing again of people wanting those DVDs back. So yes.
So is there
So-
any
I'm sorry.
motion being made with, say, Netflix and the other streaming companies to offer libraries the opportunity to sell or to offer
We
Netflix licenses?
we talk with them. It's a question of money. They do, and this is part of the difficulty with the ebooks and the digital audiobooks that I've talked to you about more times than you probably felt like hearing about, in that these companies make a lot more money if they have everybody subscribe individually than they do if a library gets something, because we simply couldn't afford to subscribe at a level where we could offer it to everybody. You know, if we've got, call it 40,000 card holders, and it would be $9 a month at least for each one. So they say, well, hey, we're going to make a lot more money if all your subscribers come to us individually than you can afford to pay. So economically, it's a difficult issue to get around. That's why we are trying at a state level, and I hope ultimately a federal level, to try to come up with some legislation that might balance out this. But I will say it's a very difficult situation that libraries are being put in an increasingly digital world, to offer individual content when that's not where the money is.
So I was just wondering if instead of buying 40,000 Netflix licenses, you could go to Netflix and say, we want to buy the right to use 50 or 60 or 100 or whatever, like you do with digital media. So you in fact have that number of licenses, and people then would, they wouldn't be available. They'd go on a wait list like I do with your digital media.
I am concerned that would become a nightmare for us in terms of, it wouldn't be waiting for individual shows. I don't think that they'll do that. Although we are talking as an industry with various streaming services. So at least one canopy we now offer, it doesn't have the first run Hollywood movies, but it is a streaming service. So ultimately, what I hope we can come to, barring government action, which might actually become necessary, to balance out copyright some and consider the needs of the populace and not just the pocketbooks of the corporations. We may ultimately be able to come up with some sort of a licensing thing, especially on older movies. So for example, with our Palace service, we have 8,000 anytime audiobooks. And we pay a set fee, and as many people as want can get those, but they're not the newest ones. They're going to be 2-3 years old. It's the publisher's backlist. I would think that would be a first step with an Amazon or a Netflix. Amazon is thinking about getting into library ebooks apparently, and offering those on their own as opposed to going through, say, an Overdrive. So I think that we'll just have to look at this, continually evolving market. And
the problem is that the modern technology typically doesn't provide for the use of the CD. So if I buy a new laptop they don't have CDs on them anymore.
Yeah, and car stereos, they don't have CDs, the new
Right.
ones anymore. So, and that's why we made the decision to go away from it. We've got a lot more use digital. Well, as I say, we still have people who are saying, don't like that. So getting rid of DVDs will be a tough decision, but I think over time, I'm going to pull a number there. In 10 years, we probably won't have them.
Won't have them, yeah, right.
And they probably will even stop making them.
And the trick is you want to figure out the transition path to the new technology, which
Yeah.
is streaming. That's why I was trying to think of.
Yeah, well, we're constantly trying to think of ways we'll get into the market, and we do approach the major providers, and as I say, it's more a question of money being the first priority.
Something to know that might not be as familiar. PlayStations can play DVDs. And so while DVD technology is phasing out, we're still seeing a lot of younger people who are using those DVDs in their gaming systems.
Yeah.
And it does two things that are kind of cool. The first is when you are relying on a streaming service, they hold the licenses. And if they decide that they don't want to license that, you just can't get it anymore. If it's a physical copy, that
You got
gives
it.
you some flexibility. The other thing is data privacy. If you're watching something on Netflix, they know they're recording it. If you come to the library, then it's anonymous and you're not having that tracked in terms of what you're watching. So those are two other things to just keep in mind.
Well, thank you for that, Sharon, because I was going to say that DVDs do have advantages. You don't actually own your DVD, it is still licensed. So you look at the beginning and it says, you may not do this as a so you can't, I can't bring my DVD in here and say, everybody come into this room and watch
this
this.
movie.
Mhm.
But you do actually own the disc, whereas streaming, the most famous example of this is Amazon was offering a version of 1984. They lost the rights to it. So suddenly 1984 disappeared from everybody's Kindle. And in a great irony. So I thought I had 1984.
No, we're not listening to you.
So that was about 10 years ago. I still.
Sorry, it passed the 20-year limit and
Yeah,
therefore.
yeah. So you're absolutely right in that these things do offer some data privacy. They do offer the advantage of owning it. So with streaming, people, and this has happened with some actual ebooks, people go back and say, we don't want it to say that anymore. And they change what it said.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a complicated issue. And I was trying to keep this meeting short, so I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm talking
Go
about
leave
this,
it.
but-
That material.
Well, I mean,
it's a very complicated thing.
A quick follow-up.
Yeah.
Is this a one-time purchase for the entire year, this 1900? Is that you purchase one time a year and are your expenditures more or less kind of decreasing year to year slightly to reflect the from it, I guess, no, all of them.
Okay, so Midwest, no, it's all of our books and things that we buy from Ingram, Midwest, all of those, they are throughout the year. It's whenever we purchase new things.
Okay.
And Brittany is our circulation and our acquisitions person.
Mhm.
So she is tracking our acquisition buyers throughout the year and they have different times that they are supposed to be sending in purchases.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, typically our selectors, they'll order 1 to 2 months out. If I know with DVDs, it's sometimes the companies will say coming soon. So what we've done for DVDs is unless there is an actual release date, my selector won't put the order in because if it just says coming soon and they decide not to release it, we then have to go back in to Polaris and go into the company and cancel that item, and that puts the money back in our available pot. So we're just trying to streamline the process a little bit better, a little bit more. And I can say with this new fiscal year, we did downsize the amount of money that we are putting towards DVDs versus years past to kind of balance out that we recognize that collection isn't circulating as much anymore, but we still need to provide that access to those who still need it.
Okay, thank you.
I ask a question at the bottom of page 1. Second up from the bottom, camera. What is the frequency of that payment?
That's a one-time payment. We bought a new camera for, I believe that was Lexington Park. A new camera to put out.
Security camera.
Security camera, thank you.
yes.
It's a one-time payment.
No more questions. We're going to motion to approve the ledger.
Move to approve.
Second?
All, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is the treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. That's me. Okay. Okay. Think everybody got my email attachment. So this is something we've been talking about for a few months, not a long time. I don't know if I need to explain it again, but I'm calling it the Materials Endowment Fund because it kind of says books and materials. It's around 72,000 right now. Kind of been semi-inactive. I think the last withdrawal was 2001. Really small, some payments out of that. Don't know what they're for. I assume they're books and materials. Kind of lacks a purpose because we don't really pay attention to it. We haven't been discussing it. The Rudolph Fund we know comes up every year, kind of in the spring and the summer to pay for the intern. And we can see where that's gone. It's diminished down to a level that's quickly going to be gone. So my thinking was, I personally like the idea of having a sustainable, like permanent endowment for the summer intern program. I think we're good with books and materials. I mean, I'm sure every librarian wants more books and materials, but I think we're in a comfortable area and we could focus on, the summer intern program being something that the board does for the library every year, and we can sustain it for the foreseeable future. So by doing that, if we transfer over like $50,000 into Rudolph, that puts it at a level of, over $60,000. And I think at a conservative 6% earnings, we would have enough to pay every year, a certain amount for the intern. And then we would simply, the books and materials endowment fund would simply go away. We would close that account. We'd have one account, the Rudolph. The next step would be to move it into the Vanguard Wellington Fund. Two reasons. One is we're in Ginnie Mae, which earns very little. It's been there for more than 20 years. Secondly, we're actually not in compliance with our investment policy that John did so much work on 2 years ago, and we voted on it, passed it. It says all the board's investments. And these two, we didn't connect the dots, that these are also investment funds. So they don't meet that policy. So by moving the money into the Wellington, we would be in compliance with our investment policy and we would make money for the fund to sustain it.
Is Wellington where we have our current and other investments?
Yes.
So it's been, I got a lifetime, I think, of about 8.5%. Is that right,
Yes.
John?
Long
Yeah.
period.
And it is automatically 65 stocks and 35 securities
So
automatically.
the
It's a
benefit
fund
of
designed for
be
this.
It's likely we could not only fund an intern, but there would be money left over, which would provide for inflation as the cost of interns go up.
Absolutely,
So that would
absolutely.
be a good idea.
We would expect it to continue to rise. Couple things. I mean, there's some, really scattered history on this. Some things say the board would use only the gains every year to pay for the intern, and that was done a few times. We're talking about a few $100s. Another place it says the board will decide the pay, the hours, the program, everything. The board literally would almost pick the intern. I don't think that's been done in many, many years. But this would allow for inflation and possibly more hours. I think we should kind of reverse what we're doing. And in this early spring, look at the account, see what our gains are, what we could afford, and then let the library director know this year we can afford $4,000, $4,500, $5,000, something. So we'll give you, a chit for up to this amount of money. Otherwise, it's a good estimate, but we're getting an estimate and the bill at the end. So we don't really know what that bill is going to be until it comes in. Although, I mean, Belinda's very good at letting us know pretty much what it's going to be. But we could then say, this year we can afford a little bit more. So if you choose to have more hours or pay more, you could do that.
Or have two interns that you pay $2,000 for or something.
Right,
of that
right.
sort.
And I'd say, here's the money available.
Yeah,
We're
I think
gonna
that's a great idea.
allot for you this year. You guys decide how to spend it.
Can I go back to the first question about moving from materials endowment? Is that legal? Is that within the policy that was written for materials endowment?
So there's one, if you look at page 1, number 1, the second number 1 down paragraph, this is verbatim out of the synopsis history. And in the middle of the paragraph, it says, the resolution further states that the board should review the status of the fund annually and vote whether to continue investing, to spend all or part of the fund. So it's recognizing that situations change and the board needs to vote on what to do with the fund each and every year.
But it's not necessarily allocated where it says it has to be materials? That's my question.
It does say that, but it also says the board has the opportunity to decide to change their position on it.
Change what they're spending or change what it's
The fund.
used for?
Whether to continue it,
Well,
or spend all or part of it.
but that's
So
still
we're not
within
But
the
moving it
material.
out means we're not going to continue the fund.
Yes, but
Right.
that's not quite the same as legally being obligated to use it for a particular purpose.
Well, it's
Your
only-
question is
Yeah.
the purpose established or?
Yeah.
Right. In the
In board resolutions, in some notes, some minutes and votes and board resolutions, setting policy. So it's not illegal, it's a policy issue and we set policy and we can change policy. We often change policy.
We're not,
So it is a policy decision, not a legal requirement.
I've looked
Okay.
at all these documents as well, and is exactly my understanding is that this was not set up legally. There's no outside agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
You can set a new policy and decide exactly what you wish to do with this money, especially since at the time it was established, unmarked donations were coming to you, but now we have a foundation.
Yeah.
So it's really, that's where that money tends to go and they're getting the money. So I think it's time for you to go ahead and set for the future now.
Decide what to do. I mean, we decide this or something different. So we can accept gifts directly to the library, the foundation. You know, there's a number of ways we can still accept gifts and they can be delineated for certain things. So
does
it's
that-
it's a policy, it's an internal policy decision.
Okay.
So not legal trouble. However, this is a pretty significant change. And driving up here, I'm thinking, I would like to write a resolution. When we decide today what we would like to do, I would like to go back home, write a resolution, put it, memorialize it, come back next month and vote and sign the resolution. There are a few resolutions in the history of the board. I don't think there have been any lately, but significant financial changes. I think we should have resolutions memorializing it. Much easier to track what's happened to our funds and accountability for that issue. So
And I would hope that that resolution would leave freedom to future boards to reallocate as necessary, just as we are right now.
Sure, I
That would be
think-
important.
I think it's policy. So the
Yeah.
board makes policy. I think we should leave the funding open to the board. We'll look at it annually in the spring, decide what they want to spend, what they can accountably spend, and let the director know. And then they can spend it as they see fit, send us the bill in the fall when they're finished. So no specific dollar amount, but it should be looked at every year. We could have a great year with 18% gains. We could have a year we lose money. So it needs to be decided carefully every.
I think as part of your resolution ought to be that we're going to transfer it to a different financial management instrument
Yes,
from what it is, because I think that's an important piece of your whole strategy.
yes,
which
I
is
would.
This produces enough income that we can make it a lasting grant as opposed to one that's eventually going to run out.
Right. I would put these steps in the resolution.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Can I make one suggestion on that resolution in your timing? In the sense that you're saying in the spring you decide and then we send you a bill in the fall, but then you're crossing fiscal years. So if you
Mm.
can make the decision in the fall, we have a fiscal year to do it. We give you the bill at the end of that fiscal year to get the money within the same fiscal year. Because if we spend it in the spring, but give you the bill in the fall, I'm not applying it to the same budget. So I need the request to be within one fiscal year. Does that make sense?
Isn't that July to July?
It's June, yeah, July to June.
July to June.
Where does this show in our budget? Where does this show in our budget? It's like we're giving.
You mean the intern?
Yeah, because it's like we're giving you, you're actually invoicing us and we're paying it. So it's a zero sum game, right?
Right, but we're applying it to whatever you wanted us to spend it on or whatever we were planning to spend it on. So for example, even if it's just something you were going to buy for us. Let's say you were going to buy us new shelving. If you tell us to buy the new shelving in the spring and we buy it in April, but we don't bill you until August, that shelf was in the previous fiscal year. So we're just adding funds. We're adding money to the current fiscal year, which you didn't like
So
with
you're
the
saying
digital.
you don't want it transferred over.
I don't want it to cross fiscal years. That's all I'm asking.
Doesn't the intern cross fiscal years?
It doesn't because it's in the budget for starting in June
That's
or
right.
July.
I budget the interns, they themselves cross, but the money, the way we do it doesn't. So
So we could vote on it in the spring, but you're saying
No, we'd have to vote on it at the same time as the budget. We vote on the budget because they're matching that payment for other interns and need to make the accounting hit the same deadlines.
yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be at the same time as the budget, but in the late summer, early fall gives us the year to spend or to allocate it to where we want it to be.
So let's use a specific example of the intern. When, in terms of the fiscal year budgeting, would it be a good idea for the board to say, we're going to pay for an intern that will be, in fact, if you said it now, it would be, the money would be next fiscal year.
Yeah, so the interns, you could do the interns, you can do whenever, because they do cross. And so we kind of adjust that budget. It's in both budgets. So part of last year's was covered for the first part, and part of this year's, when you give us the money, is covered for this year. So the way that you're currently doing the intern is fine because your money actually crosses. We get two. You don't pay us until the fall, and they've done half a year in the previous fiscal year, but we basically are applying half of that to the next fiscal year.
Could this be something that's not in the policy, but that we simply ask at the time any money is allocated?
Yeah. So if it's just the intern, I'm fine with the spring. But if it's any other items that you want us to purchase, that's where it becomes an issue. That's my only point. The intern doesn't need to change, but anything else that you are allocating to us to spend on something else does need to stay in the fiscal year.
You mean the transfer the money and the purchases. So if we were to transfer money in January, you need to spend it by June 30th. Okay, well, that's not a problem, is it?
What?
And the intern, I mean, yeah, it's kind of zero sum with the intern.
Yeah,
So,
that's not, but you said spring. So if you were choosing March or April, then it gets tight for us.
oh, okay. No, I think this one-time expenditure for items is going to be a one-time thing. And that'll just be the intern. That's how I picture it, unless you all disagree.
So do we use interns year round? So summer, I don't.
No, it's only summer. They help with summer reading and all of the programming that, as you saw this past year, how many programs we do during the summer. Those interns are a significant help to us. We do, I don't remember the numbers. It was hundreds of programs during just 2.5 months of summer.
Other thing is that they tend to be, in many cases, college students. And so they've got the summer off. And so that's a great time for them to pick up some money as well as some career experience. So we don't really have them year round. And I don't know that, given the heavy demands of programming in summer, we need them then, but not necessarily all year.
Judith, did you have any record of when the last time we tapped into the endowment fund?
2001.
So
It was small. It was like under $2,000.
Yeah, it's been a very long time, and so we have the avenue of the foundation to accept cash donations. And does FOL serve the same purpose, or is FOL, strictly holding fundraisers through book sales?
FOL does get donations occasionally, and those go to the library, but the foundation is intended to be the primary source for donations.
Okay.
So the friends do occasionally get, pick up a 500 or so here. You can, as a Friends member, instead of paying $15 a year, pay $100. but their primary function is the fundraising book sales.
Okay, so if we phased out the endowment fund, we wouldn't be losing any way that the folks can donate to us.
No, in fact, there's more now than there was when this was set up.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael, I discussed that earlier. We didn't want to, cut off any avenues, but I think there are a number of ways now to accept funds. It's easier. So, any other thoughts? Otherwise,
So do you need
I'll
a
go back.
motion to tell you to produce that resolution? Or do you
Pardon me?
are you asking for a motion?
No,
to
I think a nod of the heads. I'll go back and draft up a resolution.
Yeah.
I will send it out to you guys plenty of time ahead.
Yeah.
And mark it up, comment. Maybe we could just go back and forth on email. I think that would be okay. And then come back next month and see if we can finalize it. So I'll add the language about a decision in the early spring with the dollar amount and letting the director know. And it will be their determination how they want to spend it, as long as it's on a summer intern. They want 1, 2, 20 hours, 40 hours. The only thing it does say Lexington Park. It was always for Lexington Park. Correct, Michael, as far as you know. Should we keep it at Lexington Park? Wasn't it? Yeah.
It does say that. I was wondering.
It always-
I actually found in the notes that the original one did not say Lexington Park. It said a library intern. But at the time, we only used them at Lexington Park. So somewhere later, it was just referred to as the Lexington Park intern. But the
Okay.
original one that I found actually does say a library intern.
Okay.
Rewriting that would be a good thing to clarify, I think.
Do you want to take out Lexington Park?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It couldn't be any, we always have one at Lexington Park, so it really
You can
doesn't
use it
matter.
for
It
Lex-
could be one way or another, but I think it's good to take it out just to give us the freedom
Yeah.
to have the.
I don't want to micromanage that level.
Yeah.
I think it's summer intern. You guys figure it out.
So a quick question for you then, for this month, are we assuming the full amount is going to be moved over to the Vanguard? And you will decide later about any of these. Yeah, I mean, you asked me to come up with a
Yeah.
prioritized list, and I did. So are we assuming that for now, we're not going to look at that prioritized list? We'll look at that sometime in the future?
I think that would be appropriate for us to vote on the resolution, and then we could immediately go to the wish list. If
Okay,
you guys agree on $20,000, kind of nodding your head, you could kind of plan for that, Michael. But I don't think we should vote on that until we do the resolution first.
Yeah, I
Makes
would,
sense.
I would like to look at the list before we decide on the $20,000.
Okay.
I think that that's a better way to consider how much to spend.
I
and how
mean,
much
we
to-
could do a flat out amount, or we could pick and choose the projects. That's another decision.
But for now, all we want is
But I think again, we actually need to sign the resolution first, which would determine the move. So do we need to put in the resolution the dollar amount we're going to transfer to the library?
Yes, as it's currently written, your policies won't actually allow you to do what you've asked to because the original policy the board wrote has a corpus saying that you must keep $55,000 in that original account. So you only have 70. So you only have 20,000 to move to the intern. And if you move that 20,000, then you can't spend any more. So you have to write this resolution
First.
to change your policies to be able to give us any money.
and we're fine with putting off the decision about the list until next month. It's no hurry. But we did prioritize the items for you, so you can look at that for next month.
Thank you.
Do we want to talk about that now, or do you
I had
don't need to
one
look at it?
one
Okay,
burning
sure,
question
yeah.
about that list. So
I'm sorry, Sharon, I don't mean to interrupt you.
please,
Could we, so are we settled on, you're gonna write a resolution, we're done, and we're not gonna transfer any money until the resolution is done?
so we're
Yeah.
transferring all of the money to the Rudolph account. And within this resolution, it's transferring all the money and then we will decide what to spend out of it
That's
later.
what
No, actually the opposite. We want to take it out of the books and material money first and give it to the library for books and material. Then the balance will go to the Rudolph Fund,
But if the balance is less than $55,000,
but we'll sign the resolution first, saying we can do this.
Yeah, basically, you're going to get away with the $55,000 limit
Yeah.
You can change that.
What-
It doesn't have to be.
But she's
Yeah,
saying
that was
she's
just
gonna write a
because that keeps the
resolution
vote.
changing that policy.
Yeah.
That 55,000 was
that
just a
first.
board vote,
Right,
which
understood.
we could vote right now to undo that. Actually, that might simplify things.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, so I would move to make a board vote to eliminate the requirement to keep $55,000 in the endowment fund.
Second,
Any further discussion? Wait, I think give Belinda a chance to,
Are you going to set an amount at all or just no? Just a
Next
general
month,
question.
no limit. But next month, we'll discuss exactly how much to transfer to the library by looking at the list that the director gave us. We could do all or none, somewhere in between.
So just to be clear, the motion is to eliminate the corpus of $55,000 from the original Vanguard account.
Eliminate the requirement to keep the corpus of $55,000.
And that's because that was an artificially determined number. That was not the original donated corpus.
No, there were a
That
lot
is
of
correct.
there were a lot of different deposits and donations from different sources, and that somebody decided that was the base amount.
Yeah, that
I
is
don't-
correct. It was not, and it was not a $55,000 donation, meaning you have to keep this.
that was 21 years ago. 55,000 worth a different amount.
yes, it's true.
Could you tell me who did the first motion?
Judith,
Judith was the first motion.
and I second.
And Sharon seconded.
Yeah, anybody have any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did it simplify things?
Yeah, good work.
Sometimes
Like
you
there's
think,
so much
like-
like what has to
That's
go
a great
first?
idea, though.
Yes,
Thank you.
agreed.
Good work on that, Judith.
Okay, now can I ask my burning question about these projects?
Yeah.
So I saw on point 4 that the sliding doors for accessibility, if the LTC grant is received, if you receive the grant, but we decide not to give the $5,000, what's the plan?
FOL funds?
Yeah.
we
Okay,
talked
because I
about
do
that
have other
yesterday.
sources.
Yeah,
That was
the-
the piece I wanted to know.
The foundation currently has about 34,000 in CDs that could be cashed out without penalty. It has quite a bit of money that is earmarked for the Lexington Park Makerspace project, but there's still about another 15,000 there that is not accounted for. And we are going to be working towards a Giving Tuesday for the foundation. So there are other sources for that funding, and the Friends are probably going to be giving us another 40,000 this year because they want in the year of the 75th anniversary to have to celebrate giving us $1 million over the years.
Nice.
So there would be some other source for that funding if
Okay,
necessary.
perfect. Thank you.
I'm gonna move on to the Smurler report.
Yeah, so we'll look at what you might do once the resolution is written and you're ready to transfer the funds.
Okay. The Smurler met on October 14th. And we had a presentation from Cherry Beckhart Advisory with our annual audit. And we had we approved a calendar for 2026. It included closing at 1 p.m. on Thanksgiving Eve and New Year's Eve, both 2025 and 2026. And we learned about the LSTA grant for a facility study teaming with the Calvert Library. You know, I asked them to maintain communications with the St. Mary staff. I think they're aiming to have that approved at the end of the fiscal year. And the next meeting will be December 9th. Chuck, the Regional Library Association's board meets mostly every other month. Sometimes there are exceptions. Next is the director's report.
Okay, the fiscal year 26 budget. 33% of the year has passed, and looking at it, I do not see many areas of concern. And areas that are of concern, at least they're not large amounts on a monthly basis. So on page 2, Lexington Park Electric's at 55%, and Leon's Electric is at 39%. So although it wouldn't be a large amount at the end of the year, possibly we'd have to end up doing some budget transfers there. Again, something that's a relatively small amount on a monthly basis is the bank service fees on page 3. They're at 44%. We have several bank accounts and they all have fees, but we'll have to see if that doesn't balance out. And we're still hoping the electric will as well. I mean, we're coming off a relatively warm time. And if it's a clement winter, then maybe those will balance out. Our staff, development on page 2 towards the bottom is at 52%, but that's not our only staff development fund. We also have grants that fund staff funding. So again, looking at where we are for the year, nothing is standing out as problematic at this point. If you look on page 6, you see that services income, that's things like photocopying, and our lost and damaged fund are actually higher than were anticipated. So a little bit more money coming in there than we had thought. And the MLGIP interest is running about normal. So our kind of concern fiscally will be a macro one, what will be shut down, and other federal layoffs due to the Maryland and local budget. I think we'll be safe for this year, and that there will be funding in a rainy day fund if something doesn't make. But we'll be particularly concerned about next year's budget and what that's going to look like. And we'll be talking with our representatives and with the county about what they're anticipating in terms of a budget next year. You will get a budget request for the next fiscal year in December because we have to present it to the county in January. And you will have one day where you could make changes to that, but I will ask you to please just go ahead and let's stay with, because in January, I think your meeting's the day before we've got to get it to the county. So I will ask that we go ahead and stay with what we asked for come December, knowing that there's going to be negotiations with the county throughout the whole budget process as to what the library would actually get. But we will have the budget request to you in December for your approval.
And the earlier you could get that to us, the better, so that we have a chance to review it.
It will be at least a week always before your meeting.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you could even get it earlier than that, that would be good, so that we have time to look at it and get back to you with any questions we have.
Chuck, I will do my best, but we also have Thanksgiving holiday that week, and I just finished an audit and have to turn around and start the budget. So I am working on it, but it takes some time, and I cannot always promise to get it before that.
We will have it at least a week ahead.
Your best is quite.
We will have it to you at least a week ahead of time, and I with any luck that will give you a chance to ask questions. Really, much of the budget is set. I mean, it's not like we can say we're just not going to do utilities this year. Those people don't
say that.
Yeah, those people don't need money. So really, we'll be looking at what is it that we would like, understanding that there may not be a raise this upcoming year. I mean, it will depend on what the budget situation looks like, but we will say our request is always, the county, what are you giving your folks? We'd like that for our folks. And we'll do that again, but we'll probably try to look at what would help us close the gap with Calvert and Charles libraries in terms of pay. what else might we need? So we're going to make a solid budget request, understanding that if the money's not there, it's not there.
Right. We do want you to understand that this one that you vote for in December and January is truly just the request, and we're not probably going to get the full request. So
Yeah.
it's the next one after we get our money that it becomes, actually important. So we're going to put in what we want our staff to have and what we want to be able to pay in utilities, not necessarily what we're going to get.
Yeah. So basically in June, you will have a vote on a final budget once we know what we're getting, and you can say, all right, here's how we agree to allocate that. What's happening at your library? I've been asked to give those in order of strategic priorities, so I am going to do so. Our first strategic priority is digital literacy. And I'm not going to cover everything here, but I'd like to point to an Internet Basics computer class at the St. Mary's Caring Soup Kitchen on 11/10. And we'll be doing that on an ongoing basis, just to try to help get that as a outreach for people who may be looking for a job, for example.
I mean, 11/10 was.
I'm sorry,
days.
it's upcoming. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
11. No, that was
The Monday.
Yeah, Monday, this past Monday. Yeah.
So they did do it?
Yes. Mhm.
I'm just curious about turnout. Few, handful, a lot?
Sandy's not here. Do we know?
Okay.
We'll get that to you.
No, I saw the signs. They had a lot of signs posted up down there, so hopefully the word got out.
Yeah. So that is certainly something that I think that we want to see how we're doing on. We're also doing computer classes at the Veterans Center, at the Veterans Home. Jeff goes up there on a weekly basis, and we'll see how those turn out. In terms of our second strategic priority, which is embrace innovation, I don't know if you saw the press release from the county, but we're working with the Department on Aging on adult memory kits. And I have that press release here. Basically, they're available at no cost from the 3 local senior activity centers and all 4 of our branches, including the mobile library. So it's got books, games, puzzles, and hands-on activities designed to stimulate memory, mental agility, and overall cognitive function. So they're organized by theme, so they can choose a topic that best matches their interest or cognitive needs. So I certainly think that that's innovation, and we are working on that.
Michael.
Yes.
We had 4 at the computer class on Monday,
Okay, thank you for the update.
which is good for that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I get small numbers in there.
So the memory kits actually launched this past Monday. Each branch, with the exception of mobile, so each branch has 3 kits. Mobile has 1. And as of yesterday, 1 kit has already checked out from Charlotte Hall, and 2 out of the 3 kits at Lexington Park have checked out. Haven't checked here at Leonardtown yet. But yes, that was a process. Working with the Department of Aging, they received a grant and approached us about partnering with them. So we worked the past few months with them on giving them feedback on items to include in the kits, and also working with Smyrla to get them cataloged in our system so that people are aware that they can be checked out. And we also have a landing page on our website if you want to check them out for more information to see what is in the kits.
In addition to that, the Aging Department is our presenter at Staff Day, and we'll be discussing many of their products, programs that they provide so that our staff can promote them, in addition to telling our staff more about the memory kits.
Under embracing innovation, although this one could have gone in any number of places, we did complete our customer survey in October. And I was hoping for at least 100 responses, and we got 1,149. It is 52 pages long with a lot of, not just poll taking, but comments. So next month, I will be presenting you the results of that. We're still pouring through them. Just a quick summary. What people want is more. including a branch in Wildwood, a branch in Mechanicsville, a branch in the 7th District, a branch in Scotland or Ridge. And so I'm going to have to go out and buy a lottery ticket because one of the lotteries is up close to $1 billion. And if I win, we will do all those things. Obviously,
One,
it's
even with
yeah,
$1 billion.
obviously they also want to renovate Lexington Park in addition to Charlotte Hall. So they want more books. They want a lot more digital books. They want to bring back Hoopla. So what people want is more, but in terms of the responses to the library, it's an overwhelmingly favorable thing. So I will present that to you in depth.
So I believe Charles County has something in Nanjamoy. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a little book.
A kiosk?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that, I'm
Yeah.
just tossing it out. Like,
They got theirs with grant funding.
Yeah.
And we've certainly considered that, especially for a place like Ridge.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that the survey shows is that people don't always know what we're doing. So we got a couple comments. The mobile library should go to Ridge. We did, and nobody showed up. So a kiosk, a place, something like that, which would allow that kind of thing we've considered before. It just hasn't been in terms of our grant getting the highest priority, but we will be looking at that.
So is the 7th District most distant from the branches of both Charlotte Hall and Leonardtown in terms of?
I'm sorry, could you do the question again?
Yeah, I know Ridge is pretty far from Lexington Park. Would you say that some parts of the 7th District are even further away from?
Yes, if you go down to Colton's Point, it's quite a distance from either Leonardtown or Charlotte Hall. If we had the money, I'd actually love to have 2 physical locations and maybe have them open every other day. One in Collet, Scotland and Ridge, and one down at Colton's Point, just because there are youth in that area who maybe not have an easy time getting to the library physically, but the mobile library, we went down to the museum, which is currently closed for renovation at Colton's Point. And again, not many people were coming to us there. So it's kind of like, we'd love to do it, but it would require a lot of studies up front to see who would actually be using it.
Yeah. Be curious to know the driving distance from Nanjamoy to the nearest branch in Charles. Probably later.
do we have to rely on grant money? If you decided, not this year, that you really wanted to try a kiosk and priced it out, why can't we go to the county and ask them for it? And I realize it's not going to be ready by December.
Part of a budget request to the county.
I mean, I'm not opposed
see
to
if that's
supporting
something
like
they
that.
fund. I guess I'd say that after a relatively lean period for our staff, our primary request, I think, still have to reflect that, and also the materials budget, which, I mean, especially with the increase in demand in digital, we'd like to fund that primarily. I think a grant might be a better sort of lookout for that.
I'll say that I feel like we have higher priorities. Our mobile library desperately needs another staff person, and even to take on that type of thing, maintaining a kiosk will require staff time. So, that's kind of a wish that we want. It's on the wish list, but I feel like we have other priorities, especially for our budget requests. We did
certainly not, for 20.
Yeah, and
Okay.
as a future priority, I'd love to do it. And as I say, in some ways, what this customer survey is showing us are that people want a lot more, and some of the things they want, affording them is going to be difficult. But we love to see what they have to say.
It occurs to me that using the mobile library provides you a way of testing the market before you put a kiosk down there and say the mobile library is going to be there on Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever. Instead of having to put a kiosk down there with a dedicated staff to the kiosk, use the staff in the mobile library and use that as a sort of a way to test the market.
I think the problem is that they did, and it's the availability. A kiosk is there 24 hours a day or even 8 hours a
Yeah.
day, whereas the limited availability is what's challenging about the mobile library.
Okay. Also under Embracing Innovation, next Tuesday, I'm going to be presenting to the county commissioners at their Tuesday morning meeting. They have 50 laptops that they've depurposed. They are current powerful machines. They just don't, they've got new ones. You're going to have the proper Windows update. And so they've approached the library as being a distribution point for those. So I'm going to go make the case that we should be able to do that. We will use some of them actually as AV equipment in our meeting rooms. So people show up, they didn't bring their stuff, they'd have that. We want to give them to our assistant branch managers who currently use tablets to give them some more power. But most of them will go out into the community, including possibly to the veterans home, possibly to people who are coming out of the detention center where we do have a presence, possibly to St. Mary's Soup Kitchen. So you recall earlier we were the distribution point, although the county was doing it for, 1,000 Chromebooks. This would just sort of continue this outreach. If they will come with operating systems, they will not come with like a Windows Office suite. That's not something that we can afford to do, but they will be able to have access to these laptops, and we can help people, get set up with those. Under community gathering, we had our 75th anniversary events that you've heard about earlier. The art galleries has been installed at the Charlotte Hall Library, and our first exhibit is by a local artist, Jamie. So if you are close to Charlotte Hall Library, head up there and check that out. Our October outreach from the mobile library and the outreach team reached a record number of people that month. And you can see some of the places where they were on your library highlight sheet. So the St. Mary's County Public Schools STEAM Festival with robots, we had 53 visitors. We had 300 at the Oakville Elementary School Trick or Treat. We had over 1,000 at the Patuxent River Trunk or Treat. So getting lots of traction with the mobile library these days. Also under community gathering, we have delivered over 500 pounds of food to the St. Mary's County, to St. Mary's Caring, down on 5. You'll see distribution or donation bins out in our lobbies. So we gather those once or twice a week. And then thank you to the citizens of St. Mary's County who, even in a difficult time, have been exceptionally generous. And we are seeing a lot of business at our own little free pantries and a lot of community support there. So for example, a group in Leonard's Grant has decided that they're going to come stock the library's little free pantry right out here. And it is getting heavy use. I'm told that one of our staff members, I went out there, it was fully staffed. I'm going to go take a picture of it. Went back into the library for an hour and a half, came out, it was empty. So this is a period of great demand, and I'm just really proud that the library is helping to meet that demand. Under community gathering, I emailed you that our Charlotte Hall Library RFP will be out on the street before Thanksgiving. That will go out by the county. That's not our release, but the people who are going to be responding to that are pre-qualified. So the county thinks that they can make a fairly quick decision, leaving the architect time to develop plans, a construction schedule, and a construction estimate for our efforts to get a $2 million capital grant for fiscal year 28, which we have to apply for probably in April of next year. The Lexington Park glass work for the makerspace is on Maryland Emma now. That should be a $100,000 project. So we are getting solicitations for that. And so far, I believe we've had 3 responses. And a number of people have asked for that to share further. So we'll, on December 8th, it will have been out for a month. So we will be looking at who has responded then and making a selection of a vendor to do that work.
And what does your selection process look like?
I'm sorry?
What does the selection process look like?
We'll see who's applied and we will get together a team. Typically, it's going to be the branch manager and me. And if one of you would like to sit on that, you're welcome to do so. And we just look at them. For previous efforts, we've had a matrix that we look at, and we'll have that again. Just, all right, check off, has the person done work of this kind before? What is their budget? And we'll prioritize based on that. I don't think we'll have as many as some of our past RFPs. I'm hoping that we'll have at least 5 to choose from. Under youth services, Young Minds are 4th. That's the Lexington Park Comic-Con, Lexicon. Adults come to that too, but I view it as primarily a teen event. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Is that a lot of teens? A lot of teens.
Lexicon is all ages. We have little ones because they get to dress up.
Yeah.
So we have little all the way to adults. I mean, there's a lot of adults that are actually really into it also. So it is literally all ages.
Yeah, I know it's all ages, but I think we do see a lot of kids there. So I'm still counting that as a Young Minds kind of event. Brewing and Media program at Lexington Park had over 100 children attend. So lots going on at your library. I don't want to go into every little thing that's here, but there they are. And in order of strategic priorities. One more thing about that. You've asked to talk about programming. This would come under our 3rd strategic priority. At Charlotte Hall, an upcoming program on November 22nd is the Author Fair. So local authors come in, they have their books with them. You can meet them, you can talk to them about their books, you can buy their books. And they will talk about their writing process, what it takes to get published, and there is no registration required. We do have a website. We do have a link for our website to learn more about that. At Outreach, there's a cricket class at St. Mary's Caring Soup Kitchen coming up in December. So people there will be able to decorate a tote bag that they can utilize for themselves as a guest or others for the holidays. At Leonardtown, Fall in the Front Yard, a Master Gardener guided outdoor exploration. So people will be able to take themselves and their kids out here in the front garden and observe and explore nature and our surroundings. They'll learn all about trees changing color, seeds sleeping in the ground, pollinators, and basically the plants that are out there. On December 6th and 7th at Lexington Park is Lexi Holidays. That's in conjunction with the Lexington Park Business Association. Got a flyer here if anybody wants to see it. So on December 6th at 5:30 p.m. is the Christmas tree and menorah lighting. And that's Saturday, December 6th. On Sunday, December 7th from 1 to 4, we're having a vendor fair with lots of activities, including a visit from Santa and Santa's elf, played by yours truly. So hand-catch-up gifts. There'll be free hot chocolate there from Lexington Park Rotary. And so that's a partnership with Lexington Park Business Association. And that's going to be a really busy day at Lexington Park Library, 2 days actually. So those are upcoming programs. On November 18th, administration, I'm presenting to the Citizens Academy. That's a group of 25 people who go to the various department divisions in the county. And then one night they meet with the Sheriff's Department, Health Department, Department of Social Services, Metcom, and the library. And I'll be giving about a 20-minute presentation and giving and giving information about the library to them. December 9th is a digital shelf. I sent you an email about that. It's nationwide and actually will include Canada. You'll be able to hear from real shakers and movers who are doing things about library digital content, and I helped organize, and I'm the MC for that event. It is virtual. Questions about any of those? Okay, the only other update I have for that is December 5th is Staff Day. And before we begin, Judith said, wouldn't it be a good idea if a member from the Library Board of Trustees would attend and say, I'm, trustee, here's what we do. And I said, well, we do after every one of these meetings, send out a report to staff about what happened. So they're somewhat familiar with it, but I think it'd be a lovely idea. You're always invited. If somebody would like to come and just say a couple of words, you'd be more than welcome to do so. And just,
it's an idea that I wasn't sure everybody knows what we do, and the things that we also don't do. We talked about like book selection and right to read and things like that keep us.
Yeah, I've been attending the last couple of years.
I have to.
so if you'd just like to say a couple words more formally, we'll happily have you do that. Thank you so much for doing that for us. Appreciate it. Moving on to policies, we have only one. That is paid time off for part-time employees. You'll see the change in the policy there. Currently, they get PTO on an annual basis. So it starts in January and it ends in December. It doesn't roll over. Of twice their weekly hours. So if you're a 21-hour a week employee, you get 42 hours, which is basically 2 weeks during the year off. Now they do get paid holidays. So that's not the only time off they get. They can also take a day and then flex it and work some other day if they need to do that. This policy actually gives them a lot more leave than is required by the state of Maryland, which under the a law, we have to give them 1 hour for every 30 hours they work. That would accrue, but if they're starting off at 0, by the time their first year ends, they're not going to be anywhere near what we're already giving them. So this does renew every year. We're looking at it and thinking that 3 weeks would be good. That 2 weeks doesn't really give them a lot of time. This does include their sick time, for example.
It does, it does not.
It does include their sick time. So any reason they want to take off, it's PTO. So we'd like to bump that up. We think that it will be a good morale booster for staff, give them a bit more time. Is there a fiscal note attached to this? We may need more substitute hours, but we don't think it's going to be a lot. So that is our request. This would begin in January with the new sort of allotment of these hours. So I'd like you to ask any questions, but also please consider voting for that increase for them.
So is this something new that changed in the Maryland Healthy Working Families Act? Is this a new requirement?
No, this is just us.
But you cite this leave policy is in accordance with the Maryland Healthy Working Families Act.
Okay, so that is in the policy itself already. That policy is already
New that
written.
Maryland
So
changed?
no.
No, it's healthy. I'm sorry to interrupt. Healthy Working Families Act is the one that says you will give people 1 hour of medical leave for every 30 hours they work. So
it's saying this is even before the edit, but also after the edit is in compliance
yes,
with.
it actually
Okay.
increasing.
And we're not now.
Yeah, no, we are
We
now.
are now.
We
Oh.
absolutely are now. So here's the history of this policy is when I came here, part-time employees had no time off. They could choose to work, they could make up hours, but they had no time off. So we wanted to say, what kind of policy could we have that would give them time off, but not allow accruing so many hours that when they left, assuming, they kept accruing hours, we wouldn't be able to pay them out.
But they can't carry over from year to year.
So,
So
and when they leave,
You lose it.
They lose it, yeah. So with a policy that allows you to accrue typically, all right, right now, I personally have 250 hours. I will lose some of that come January 1 because we're not allowed to carry over that much, but I can carry over 234 hours. When I leave, now don't worry, I'll work it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I leave, you'd owe me 234 hours of pay. And that's the case for our full-time employees right now. So what kind of policy could we craft that would not place a financial burden on us, but still allow employees to get leave? This Maryland Family Working Act came along after this. So we just wait, are we in compliance with that? And the answer was yes. So we just wanted to add that policy then.
So we're going over and above what the
Yeah,
act
this is
said.
just, this is not a change in anything other than we want to give people 3 weeks rather than 2.
We're just trying to make it more equitable between full-time and part-time staff. Our full-time staff get a lot of leave. So we're trying to increase our part-time leave.
How much
And then-
vacation or how much time off do we give our full-time staff?
It varies.
It's based on length of service and also whether or not you have an MLIS. But basically for anyone under 5 years, they get about 3 weeks. Plus they, plus they get sick leave and some PTO. And all the holidays.
So what you're really doing is saying if you're working 20 hours a week, you're a part-time employee, you're working 20 hours a week, you get 3 weeks off and we will pay you.
Yeah, you're going to get 60 hours of vacation time. If it's 20, it'll go to 60 hours of vacation time.
And you'll basically will take a 3-week vacation.
Well,
Or sick.
people will use it throughout the year more than likely. I want a week off. You clear that with your supervisor. Okay, I got the flu. I had 3 days off, but I'm paid for them. Whereas,
So how does that compare with other jobs in the county in terms of time off for part-time employees?
I don't know. I'm not really so concerned about that, but I can give you a personal example. My wife works for a law firm. She is a full-time paralegal. She is given 2 weeks of PTO. So, frankly, you know, she took a vacation with me once. She got sick. She didn't have any left for the rest of the year.
Right.
So we want our part-timers to have more equity with the full-timers. And thank you for reminding me that, Marianne. But also, we just think that this is going to be a morale booster and something that we can cover fiscally.
We aren't comparing to other areas or other businesses. We are literally, as they both said, comparing to our full-time staff. Our part-time staff are not second-class staff, and we want them to know that. Our part-time staff aren't necessarily ones that are going to rotate through all the time. These are full-time, long-term staff members. It's their job, and they all have family. They have commitments. This is simply something that we're trying to make more equitable in the library system itself. So because we can't give increases a lot, this is a way to keep those benefits. We also can't offer benefits to our part-time staff. This is a benefit we can offer that is not a hit on our budget, and is a morale booster.
We'd offer more. We'd offer 4 weeks, except that we've talked to our branch managers who do the scheduling to say, we just don't think that we could
work around it.
Yeah, we just don't think we could make the schedules work if we had everybody getting 4 weeks instead of 3, but we think we can manage 3.
But there is a hit if you're going to ask for more substitute time. I don't know that I would support that because now you're incurring an expense
So
with this.
we aren't going to change.
More substitute time.
We aren't asking for more substitute money or more substitute on the budget. It's that the hours that we have to fill in might change, but also our staff can switch shifts. They can make up hours. There's a lot of other options. We also don't fully cover a shift. So if an employee that's part-time takes a 7-hour day, that might mean that they're only on the desk for 3 to 4 hours and they are doing backroom or their other duties as assigned for the other couple hours of the day. We first switch the shifts, the schedules within there to see who can cover what. And then we backfill that shift only for the amount of time that the person is on desk, because a sub can only work the desk. They have no other duties. So we don't fill a 7-hour person's leave with a 7-hour sub. We fill it with a 4-hour sub or something like that.
Something to keep in mind, if your child is in the public school system, they get a week at spring break and 2 weeks at Christmas. So if you are a part-time employee, you cannot take just that time, not even counting any other time if your kid's off from school.
And then with the part-timers, all the leave is in the same pot, whereas a full-time is separated out.
Yes, it is. It is separated into different pots. So there's sick leave, for example, which accrues with the state. And
I can
use at retirement time.
I can speak as the younger manager on staff that the workforce is changing, and we do have different generations in the workforce now. And I can say millennials and below, we really hone into work-life balance. And with our staff being on the front line and dealing with the public all day, every day, 6 days a week, I don't think that giving them that extra week is going to hinder us it's not going to hinder us. It will make us better as a library system. As Belinda said, if we know that an employee needs to take time off, or if an employee takes time off, we always try to amend the desk schedules first to see where myself can be on the desk or my assistant branch managers can be on the desk. If that's not possible, we bring in subs as like an absolute need. But sometimes there's a day where I'm in meetings all day and I can't cover the desk, or there's other things going on. And I'm an employee that left the system, but I came back because we are such a good system. And like Belinda was saying, our part-time employees aren't second-class employees. They are employees, and a lot of them do want to stay and do want to move up in the system. But I think the added benefit of an extra week gives them kind of that leeway and more of a work-life balance that I know myself and the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas coming up do desire.
Also, we all discussed this as an admin staff before we took it to you, before we decided to do it, because it does require our branch managers to be on board because they have to adjust the scheduling. It's the discussion about how the differences in those two full-time versus part-time staff. And so part of that discussion was that we know that we will have to work harder to make sure that we're filling in this way rather than doing just pulling in a sub. So we plan to make that adjustment so we aren't pulling as many sub hours we aren't like going to have to, we might have a few more sub hours each year, but it's really nothing abnormal. But we will make those adjustments on our side to cover that. We feel this is more important morale-wise, fairness-wise, and benefits-wise for our staff, and to maintain and keep the current part-time staff we have. We do sometimes lose them because they can find a job on base that's full-time. But if they have a job that gives them leave and holiday pay as a part-time employee and can still make all of their children's events, they love working for the library. I have not had one employee who left for a full-time job that didn't tell me, I am sorry, I have to leave. I just needed more money. So we want to make sure that those staff have a reason to stay also.
So I ask that you please consider a vote on this.
One more question, not to beat the dead horse, but it's more of a, since we have quite a number of part-time employees, do you make the decision to, instead of pulling in a sub, to offer a part-time employee more hours?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as they're not regularly scheduled for more than 30 hours.
Yeah.
a week.
Is that your first go-to?
Yeah.
You don't have a shift
Yeah,
tomorrow,
and-
anybody
and-
want to take it or
And in
something?
fact, the first go-to is not even us, it's other employees saying, hey, can you do this for me? And I'll do that for you.
Okay.
And also all of our employees who are under 28 hours, so we have 26, 25, and 21-hour employees, all of them are already marked as subs. So they can be a sub at any time.
So you cannot carry this over into the next year.
Right. This is a user lose policy. They are granted it on January 1st. They must use it by December 31st. If they do not, it goes away.
The only thing about the policy we're asking you to change is go from 2 to 3 weeks.
So this will go effect January 1st?
Yeah.
All right.
You keep talking about parity and second class. Why couldn't they be paid if they didn't use it? And left employment?
Well, because it's very difficult for us to afford that. If we're going to pay somebody out, that means we probably are going to have to wait to hire the other person, the amount we pay that person who's left out. So let's say I've got, as a part-time employee, I've got 3 weeks. I'm leaving, you pay me out. We're going to have to wait at least 3 weeks to get somebody else into the slot. And often we can fill a position faster than that.
Not just that, John, but it's also an audit liability if we have a payout policy. It's a liability on the audit. It's an audit liability. It becomes more liability on the audit because it's money we would be required to pay out. This policy, as a user lose policy, allows us to meet the standards of the Maryland Sick Leave Act, provide our staff with vacation time that a lot of part-time employees across the nation don't have. They don't have part-time leave. So it allows us to provide that in a way that is sustainable for the library itself.
And no liability because it isn't a payout.
That's right.
And no liability because they don't get to carry it forward. So I'm not able to bill.
That's
8
correct.
weeks of Vacation.
That's correct. And when they're hired, it's also prorated. So depending on the month they're hired in, it's prorated as to how much they get for that new hire year.
Yeah, we did with the original policy, have it reviewed by an attorney, both before and after the Maryland Act came in, and they say that this is legal. So there's no question about the legality of it. It's more what we can afford. I wish we could do more.
So can I just say as a branch manager here too, that being able to have many long-term part-time employees is a real benefit to the organization. We acknowledge there that exceeds some of our full-time employees just based on longevity. And I can't speak for all the branch managers, but I can say I would much rather have to work a desk shift, in a busy day or anything than deny anybody the opportunity to take the time that they leave. Our staff know that we love them and, they're very happy here. And if from a branch manager perspective and just from a continuation of operations, if we can provide something that is just a little bit more to say, I really don't want to leave because I have this, it helps us in our operations as well. So it can be in certain instances more work for us, but we would gladly take it if we can provide this to them.
I want to say one last thing on this is this simply allows our staff to receive one more week of paid time off. They are taking that time because we allow it. They can do it as makeup hours. They can just go unpaid after they've used their PTO, and they do take it because staff need it. 2 weeks is not enough time off when you have a family and you have other obligations. They are taking this time whether we pay it or not. We would like to be able to pay it.
I move to approve the new PTO policy.
Second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
This is public, and we know that some of our staff do watch this, so it might not maintain a secret. However, we would like to do this as a special announcement on staff day to any of the staff who haven't heard it. So that's what we're planning to do as a surprise for them.
Yes, so we will not be rolling this out as news I've already said, typically what I do is next Monday, I'll write up a full report for all our staff. Probably not going to be including this on what happened at the board meeting. The one other thing I had for you, it doesn't require action. I did give you an updated listing of next year's meetings, which are now on Thursdays at 3 p.m.
Thank you.
And over to you, John, for old and new business.
Any old business any of the trustees would like to bring up? Under new business, the only thing I had was a question about the lettering kits that the SMECO provided some years ago. I understand that they're being updated, and I don't know if that would, is that a being launched by the individual counties, or is that through SMERLA?
That is a project that Shelby, who just left the room, is working on. She'll be right back. We contacted SMECO about getting them updated, and I don't know if we've actually received them yet, but they will go out, I believe, to the Tri-County.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question came up internally as to create the design for the new box that would allow the individual library systems to put on their own, labeling as appropriate.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'll ask after the meeting.
Yeah, I actually assigned that to Shelby because it had been sitting on my to-do list for a while, and she took care of it right away. But yes, she would have more information.
All right.
Well, in that case, upcoming events. We do have just a couple listed here. What have I done with my agenda? Oh, there we go. On November 18th, next Tuesday morning, I will be talking to County Commission about laptops and money wants to watch. It'll be on the county media. December 5th, Staff Day. In January, and I don't have dates for these yet because it's being worked on regionally, Tri-County Board Retreat. So all the members of the 3 county library boards will have an opportunity to have a retreat. And that will be at SMERLA and our Charlotte Hall location. And we're planning on inviting the Southern Maryland delegation for a virtual event. Just to say, you're going into session, here's kind of what libraries are interested in. So I'll get you those dates as soon as they're finalized. And that's, I believe you want to have oh, here comes Shelby.
Yeah.
Shelby, while you were gone, a question came up for you.
Shelby, there was a question about the SMECO kits that you've been working on. Can you tell us the status?
Yes, so I reached out to representatives from SMECO about picking up the old kits, which are no longer functional in the collection. So those have been collected, which is nice. And then as far as I'm aware, they're still in the process of working with their vendors to collect the pieces and prepare those so that way they can be distributed and added back into our collections. So it's in the process still.
Yeah, I've seen a sample of the new ones. Okay.
So that being the case, you need a motion to close and a
Right.
second to close and a vote to close the meeting.
All right. We get a motion, please.
I will move to close this meeting to discuss personnel business.
I move to close the meeting to a closed meeting for personnel reasons.
Second.
So second, she just said that, so you're going to
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, it's
Thank
fine.
you.
All right.
Second.
Thank you, Judith.
All right. All those in favor?
Hi.
And I'm just filling out the form that is here. There's Judith.
Just FYI, I have 15 minutes because I have a meeting on base at noon. But
Okay.
if we don't come to a conclusion in 15 minutes, I will leave